Welcome back. Fix It with Piggy is an ed tech company dedicated to empowering youth through technology. The organization has served over 300 scholars and provided internships for more than 30 high school students. To further their mission, Fix It with Piggy launched a new coding initiative called Code with Piggy Under 60. Ashonda Culcleasure, the founder and CEO of Fix It with Piggy, joins me to discuss the program. Ashonda, thank you so much for joining me.
Thank you for having me.
Now, can you explain a little bit in more detail what Fix It with Piggy is? I know I gave an overview, but I'd love to hear about it from you.
Of course, Fix It with Piggy is an edtech company with a mission to empower the youth through technology. And we do that by partnering with schools and organizations to host a variety of tech courses to their children. That's ranging from hardware, software repairs to web development as well.
Now, what I love about this is that there's been a lot of negative talk about children and technology and how they use social media or how kids today seem addicted to technology. But I think that this program kind of puts a positive spin on it and shows that there's so much opportunity when you do understand and learn more about technology. Can you explain, a little bit more about why that could be important for children?
I can start by saying, growing up, I wasn't taught that I can be a part of the world I contribute to every day. And I have two young boys myself, and I watch my children on these technological devices where they're contributing to it every day, but they're not really being a part of it. I think that in our courses and in our classes with children, we're integrating them into that world that they contribute to every day, letting them know that you can build that game you play every day. You can build that website you browse on and you shop on daily. You can do certain tech adjacent things to contribute to the world that you partake in daily.
Right.
Just putting a positive spin to it as opposed to just having them sit on their devices and play around with them. They're learning and they don't know that they're learning in doing so.
Right, and some of them are very talented. The things that I see that they do in the editing and the coding and all that stuff, these children are really talented, and I love that it's kind of that talent and energy is being put into something positive. So I definitely wanted to kind of highlight that for a second. Now, can you talk a little bit more about Code It with Piggy Under 60 and what that program is all about?
Yeah, so we had a lot of pushback. I wouldn't say pushback, but there are a lot of parents that hear about our program that have children that aren't in our classes or don't have children enrolled into the schools and organizations we're partnered with. So a lot of parents is like, hey, how do we get that? How do we do that? And with the overwhelming responses of what we were doing, I decided to do Saturday coding courses. We are now stationed with the Bronx Business Tech Incubator Space with CUNY on Account course. So we're going to be utilizing those tech labs and the computer rooms to have children come in for an hour over the Saturdays, just to learn a little bit about or the basics of web development, focusing on HTML, CSS, and just focusing on themselves as well. A lot of our projects integrate emotional and social learning with the web development side as well.
And can you expand on that? Because when we think technology, we don't think about how that could affect our emotional or social learning. So can you expand on that a little bit more?
Right, and that's true. It took one of the projects for me to understand that, oh, we're learning more about ourselves than I thought. Right now we're doing two projects, About Me projects, where they're build or construct a website that details what they like to do, some fun facts people don't usually know about them. And then we do one with My Ideal School. So with My Ideal School, they speak on the relationship between students and admin, what the classrooms look like. When they walk in, what do they feel? One of the students coded how when she walks into the classroom, they're gonna say, you're good, your morning, good morning, but you're for the Bronx. That might not actually work, but in doing so, I realized the kids are yearning for a connection. They're yearning for representation. When we enter classrooms, you're told to take your headphones off. You're told to put your phones away. Anything that identifies who you are is now being stripped away. And now the person instructing the courses don't look like me. They're not speaking like me. Where do I fit into this? So in doing that project, I learned a lot about myself, about my students. The next day when we did the recording part of that project, they were like, well, let's just come as ourselves, because everyone was like, what do I look like? My hair's not done, Miss. So when we all came as ourselves, they were like, Miss, this is how you look. I'm coming in with t-shirts and sweatpants. That's what I wear daily. And I'm like, yeah. She's like, oh, that's us. And when she said that's us, that's when I put that connection. Wow, they're looking for representation, and now we're trying to integrate that in more of our classes and in the partnerships we have with schools.
That's amazing. And I understand that this is a 12-week program. Can you just, explain, over these 12 weeks, what do you hope children gain from this experience?
Right. So over the 12 weeks, again, they'll be learning the fundamentals of web development, focusing on HTML and CSS. They'll learn how to create structured web content, how to style elements, how to dig in onto making the website fully functional and to be a part of them. Every project, I tell them, even if you're working for someone else, has to represent your skill and your ability and what you're doing. Over the 12 weeks, we will have or meet in manageable hour-long sessions, so that gives the students time to relax. It's a Saturday. It doesn't really feel like they're learning because of the environment that we create, the safe space that we create. Even though it's a tech lab, we're going to have more pieces of them, headphones. If they need to listen to music to do certain tasks, we've considered all learning aspects for each child so that we create an inclusive environment while they're learning, again, to just reach the end goal of building websites.
And how do you measure the success and the impact, of the program on the students?
Our hands-on projects, that gives us real life data, so we get to watch the progress of the students. We do formative and summative assessments. So when the students begin the progress, begin the class, they'll take an assessment so we can see where they're starting, the levels that they're on, and then kind of go from there. And then before they exit the program, they'll end with another assessment so we can see, engage. Also speaking with families and being really close, engaging with parents and things of that nature, having those conversations to see if the parents are seeing and have the ability to see their progress in their child as well. That's really important to us, to make sure that we're all seeing the progress. Because I can say, oh, well, they didn't know how to do it now, but they know how to do it now, or they didn't know how to do it then, but they know how to do it now. But it's important for me to know that their parents see that progress as well.
And I definitely want to take a moment to highlight the importance of, parents just being involved, because I could remember back in my experience, I would go to a program and my parents would have no idea what I did for the day or whatever. It was just something to keep me busy or, maybe off the streets, which is great. But, kind of having a parent present, I could only imagine adds another layer, to support the child fields. Can you talk about, how important it is to have a parent present, during these programs?
Right. Honestly, the parent aspect was more for the parents than the child. I think we're giving the children a lot already, right? I thought about me when I take my children to extracurricular activities. What do I do for that hour? What if it's away from, not as close to home as I'd like it to be? They used to box with Sandbox Fitness in Mount Vernon. So by the time I drive home, I got to drive right back because it's only an hour. So I thought to open up a space for the parents to sit down. They'll have access to Wi-Fi, catch up on tasks. If they want to relax, to just simply sit down and not hear a thing, we're offering that space for them as well. And also resources. So if the parent wants to say, hey, I've seen my child doing this last night, I'd like to know more about that. We offer workshops for them to start learning to develop websites themselves, or any financial assistance. Any kind of assistance that we can loop them in with, we will do so.
That's amazing. I didn't even think about it from that point of view, which I think shows how important it is to have a parent kind of be a part of programs like that, because I feel like when you're not a parent, or, if you don't have that experience, you don't think about some of the things that could arise when you do send your kid off to a program. So I think that's great. With that, I guess I want to ask, how do you use your, background or your experience as a parent to understand what kids need and what parents need?
I can only do that for what parents need. I just learned how to have or to take a different perspective and to step back as a parent to ask the child, what do you need? Our children are a lot more smarter than we think they are. And if we stop trying to control every aspect, I think we'll have more control over the situation than we originally did. So just allowing the children to be up and come in, just let's say, hey, this is what I need. Hey, this is how I'm feeling, and just providing that support to them. And for parents as well, I'm very open with the parents of my students, and I noticed when I first started classes, we didn't really have that engagement. I'm hearing my students talk about their lives, but I can't integrate myself into that because I don't know who's taking care of you. I don't know the morals and values and what your parent needs for you. So we started integrating that relationship.
Now, can you talk a little bit more just about, maybe other organizations, if you receive help from other organizations, or the importance of collaboration?
We wouldn't be where we are without collaborations. There's so many organizations from Lehman College, Bronx Tech Hub, the Bronx Collab, that they're a co-working space. I'm sure I'm not even mentioning half of the people that we've worked closely with into getting where we are now. Junior High School 118, that's on Arthur Avenue. That's not even far. And actually, the assistant principal used to be my science teacher in middle school. Wow. So just being open and honest and creating I would say a genuine relationship between people has allowed me to expand industry scholar program. We have partnered with them to host internships for high school students. So their students are getting paid to learn. When they onboard us, I was thinking like, how do I optimize their internship time? Not having them do all the stuff I don't want to do. How rude is that? And that's the first thing I thought, right? Like everyone, get an intern, let them do the calls, send the emails. But it's important for me for everyone in my space to be happy as well. So through ISP, we were able to get the interns, and we got them interviewing small business owners, creatives over the early year of this year, and having them meet with certain people. Professor Peters from Manhattan College. I can go on. Again, we wouldn't be where we are without collaboration. So yeah, it's extremely important.
That's amazing, and I think that it's so important to highlight all the work that and effort is being put into the program, because as many people may have heard, there is unfortunately a gap between technology and marginalized communities, specifically Black and Brown communities. Can you talk about the importance of, having this program be available for students in marginalized communities, and, what impact this could have, 10 years from now?
Right. If you think about the numbers of Black and Browns and the tech sectors, to start off with, 6.81% Blacks, 13.28% Hispanic. Then you think about the schools that we have in the Bronx. I believe I did some research. It's about 130 high schools. Out of 130 high schools, there are only 18 CTE programs. So how are we supporting the increase of that number, right? It's extremely important because of the disconnect, because we don't have access. It's hard with my mission to say we empower the youth through technology. The finishing of that mission is we're not here just to make a living. We're here to make a difference by empowering the youth. So for us to turn down contracts or collaborations from the lack of funding, budgeting restraints, goes against everything that we want to have. It goes against closing that gap. That's why we're offering the Saturday courses for free, trying to find collaborations and doing the footwork ourselves so that our community don't have to. And letting them know that certain resources are here, right? Like there is greatness and beauty in the Bronx, but that's not being showcased every day. Right. When you turn on the TV, you don't see all of the things and the free stuff that we have to bring us into the tech space. So that's where we kind of come in, amend that factor, close that little gap.
Well, I want to thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.
We're here in the Bronx. We're a media and technology studio that, educates people. So we definitely support the work that you're doing. And I'm so glad that you were, able to come on the show and talk about what you've built and created for, the children of our community. So thank you so much.
Thank you for having me again.
If you have a child or know someone who may be interested in learning more about these programs, please go to their website at fixitwithpiggy.com. We have to take a quick break. We'll be back with more Open after this.